My name is Jatinder Singh Hundal, and today's date is December 26, 2015. I was 23 years old. I was a student at Oregon Institute of Technology.
Right.
I was in my senior year. I was at home from school at the time. I was listening to BBC, Voice of America, Radio Moscow, Radio Netherlands, Akashvani, Radio Pakistan Lahore, all those shortwave radios, keeping in touch with the situation in Punjab because there was so much happening and there was no internet, newspapers were hard to come by. So the only way we could keep in touch was through shortwave radio. I heard on the radio reports, live reports in many ways, because BBC reporter Mark Tully was kicked out of the Golden Temple or Amritsar area at the time. In fact, all the reporters were. So we were hearing third-hand information from local reporters, clandestine operation by many reporters giving reports to BBC and other radio stations. And there was also some coverage on ABC, CBS, NBC. There was no Fox or CNN at the time, but those three major did cover the events as impartially as they could. I didn't feel that was a whole story, but I felt whatever information they could get, they did broadcast it. I don't think they tried to either water it down or change the contents because they were reporting it as it was happening, and it was happening so quickly, so fast. I don't think they had time to vet it or change it or alter it or edit it. They were just broadcasting as it was coming. I think they were scared, the government of India was scared. If Sikhs are allowed to raise a voice of freedom, all the other minorities might use that as a role model. So it was a good lesson to other minorities as well, that anyone who raises the voice for freedom would be suppressed and pressed and as hard as the Sikhs were. Obviously my reaction was same that every Sikh had, which was anger, frustration, incapability to do anything about it. There was a revengeful feeling, the feeling of being overrun by a powerful military, which was unwarranted, uncalled for, unjust, and was immoral, unethical thing to do, especially in a Golden Temple. At the time there were only 2 Sikh families in the city, and there was one about 40 miles away, and we immediately called each other, and it was kind of sharing a sad news as if somebody has died. That's the kind of feeling we all had. It was a sadness in all the 3 families there were in Oregon at the time. And we all shared the grief. We tried to share each other, and we also visited each other and trying to find out what has happened, how to do it, how to react to it. We couldn't do anything else because we were a small community. I was at Klamath Falls in Oregon, going to school. School has opened, so I went back to school for my senior year, and I heard it. It was a unbelievable, horrible thing that happened, and came as a shock. I heard on the radio that Indira Gandhi has been shot. I heard that 2 Sikhs were involved, unconfirmed at the time. However, even before it was confirmed that they were Sikhs, the reports of violence started coming in, and Sikh houses being burned and gurdwaras being burned. I was living in the dorm at the time, so I had to keep my radio quiet. I couldn't go to sleep. My roommate was upset, as understandably, because I was listening to the radio 24 hours a day, and he was asking, "What's going on? Why are you so stuck to the radio?" Because that's all we had at the time. The news was coming that Sikhs are being attacked. They were being attacked on streets, and the gurdwaras were being attacked, and police was not doing anything. An army had been called in, but the army was taking no action because police would not let them do that. It felt like, as an educated person at the time, I felt like there's something wrong with the situation because police seemed to be protecting those who were attacking, which I thought was unbelievable. Again, it was a revengeful feeling, anger feeling of inability, frustration, not being able to do anything about it. Yet I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it, but I cannot do anything about it. That's the most kind of a feeling that people had, and I had it too. It was obvious that these were people, civilians, who did not like Sikhs for some reason. It was hard to believe that they were not being stopped by those who were enforcing the law, or at least who were supposed to enforce the law. So it shows that the police was cooperating with these people. People were unidentified because it was such a chaos. It was kind of anarchy in India at the time for at least few days, and there was no no verification of who was killing, but it was certain for sure the Sikhs were being killed. That we knew. I have changed, people have changed, society has changed, community has dialogue going on all the time with my family, with my children. Even at that time when it happened, I informed my roommate and other people in the dorm that this violence is going on. In fact, I protested to the OIT president of the institution that he should write a letter to the Indian embassy protesting this thing. I don't know if that ever happened or not, but he gave me the guarantee that he will. Oregon Institute of Technology, that's where I was a senior student at the time. It basically transformed me. I was a typical kid growing up in school, worried about my wealth, my education, getting a good job. But that 84, it made a new person out of me. My outlook on life changed. My belief became stronger that I must fight in any way I can. I couldn't fight militarily, of course, I'm being here, but I decided to fight with education, with knowledge, by making myself stronger and making sure that my kids grow up learning about it. And I'm sorry, that the blood of the people doesn't go in vain. India has always boasted itself to be a democratic country, but India has always meant democratic for the majority. And this clearly was not a surprise, but the reaction of the Indian government was a big surprise. How brutally they suppressed a minority who was simply raising a voice that all communities do. More rights, more freedom. There was nothing wrong with it. I felt that this was unjust, and it must be caused by the fear of the Indian government, the Indian democratic institutions, that they saw this voice of freedom as a threat, and that's the only reason they suppressed it. Because they represent the majority. Majority is defending them. Majority is protecting them because they caused it for the majority. They represented the majority community, so they are there to defend them. I don't think Sikhs should be expecting a justice because there will never be a justice. I mean, there's only one way for justice to be brought to these people. That is to get the international community behind us and make them realize, make them knowledgeable for what has happened, who has done it. Only then we can expect justice to come to community. I don't think we should expect Indian government, but I'm not saying we should stop asking for it. We should continue the struggle. There are many organizations today who are doing it, but I don't think we should expect it, and I don't think it's coming. It was there were two sides to the coin. It was a blessing for those who were alive. They saw a history being made right in front of their eyes. But it's also history for those who were not there to witness it. For example, we read so much about history, we learn so much about history, we use so many role models from history, but we were not there, but we learned from them. So even if they were not there, they were not alive, I don't think they should use that as an excuse of not knowing it. They should read about it, they should know all that they can. It's a very well documented event in history. In fact, it's the most documented event in history. The books have been written about it, reports exist on both on the radio, TV archives, newspaper archives have its story. They should dig out and find out for themselves rather than believe others. And it's no excuse that I was not alive. There's plenty of documentation, there's plenty of research has been done at the time and after the fact that they should go dig it out themselves, dig the facts, read about it, know about it, and learn from it. Certain major events shape the history of any community. For example, in our history, the martyrdom of gurus, and then Kalukara's, Darbar Sahib attack, and this was another major event that basically brought in a revolutionary change in the community for several reasons. Number one, it forced many young people to realize, to rethink their Indianness, their support for India as a country. It also brought in the Khalistan movement out into public, and debate became accepted debate in the community, which was not before that. This served as a catalyst for a change that I'm seeing. I've seen it myself, not just within me, but throughout the community. A lot more has happened. Community is more active, and I think we should continue that activeness. For example, there are many organizations: Jakarta, SALDEF, Sikh Coalition, United Sikhs, Sikh Justice, Sikhs for Justice, and all those organizations. They're all active in their own ways, within their own means, in their own sphere of influence. And I think we should continue that, and we should support them. And that's the only way we can get ahead. Thank you.